We are live.
Good morning, everyone. This meeting will now come to order. Welcome to this virtual meeting of the Durham Historic Preservation Commission on this 11th day of January, 2022, which I'm still not used to saying. My name is Matt Bouchard, and I am chair of this commission. This commission is a quasi-judicial board of record, and as such, all testimony will be recorded. Under this procedure, our meeting today will also be live streamed on the city's YouTube channel. The proceedings of this board are governed by the zoning laws as recorded. As such, please note the steps we have taken to ensure that each party's due process rights are protected as we proceed in this remote platform. First, today's meeting will be conducted in accordance with North Carolina General Statutes, Chapter 166A, Section 19.24, which allows for remote meetings and quasi-judicial hearings during declarations of emergency. Second, each applicant on today's agenda was notified before being placed on the agenda that this meeting would be conducted using this remote electronic platform. Every applicant on today's agenda has consented to the board conducting the evidentiary hearing on their request using this remote platform. We will also confirm today at the beginning of each evidentiary hearing that each applicant approves the use of this remote platform. If there is any objection to a matter proceeding in this remote platform, that case will be continued. Third, notice of this meeting was provided to the applicants and to the public in multiple ways, including signage posted on site, notification letters mailed to all adjacent property owners, and a general announcement via our website informing the public of the same. The notices for today's meeting advise the public on how to access the remote meeting as this meeting occurs. Individuals wishing to participate in today's evidentiary hearings were required to register prior to the meeting. Information about this registration requirement, along with information about how to sign up to participate, was included in the mailed notice letters sent to each adjacent property owner. This information was also included on the board's website. The public was advised to contact the city immediately in case of objection to the evidentiary hearing or to the remote meeting platform. And as I understand things today, neither of the two cases today is anticipated to proceed with any objection either to the application or to the matter being heard using this remote platform. All individuals participating in today's evidentiary hearings were also required to submit a copy of any presentation, document, exhibit, or other material they wished to submit at the evidentiary hearing prior to today's meeting. All materials that the city received from the participants in today's cases, as well as a copy of city staff's presentations and documents, were posted online prior to this meeting. The agenda and all materials to be discussed today may be viewed at any time during today's meeting by visiting the web link for today's agenda via Durham's Agenda Center. Finally, all individuals who registered to participate in an evidentiary hearing on today's agenda, as well as all city staff participants, were emailed a witness oath and consent to a remote hearing form prior to today's meeting. Any individual planning to testify or submit evidence in an evidentiary hearing today was notified that they must sign the oath form prior to today's meeting. We will also reaffirm everyone's oath on the record during today's meeting. Are there any members of this board that would have any conflicts of interest with regard to the cases before us today? Seeing and hearing none, are there any commissioners requesting an early dismissal today?
I need to leave by 11, but it looks like we will be done by then easily.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Fieselman. Anybody else? Okay, I believe we will be done by 11. As chair of the Historic Preservation Commission, I'd like to remind everyone that our quasi-judicial hearings function similar to a court proceeding. Staff will first present an overview of each case, and then the applicant will have an opportunity to present their evidence. Opponents, if there are any, may then present their evidence, and the applicant may then present a rebuttal. Board members will refrain from questions or comments until each speaker has completed his or her presentation. Testimony should consist of facts each witness knows directly, not hearsay. Evidence already presented need not be repeated. All witnesses who have signed up in advance will be given the opportunity to speak, and their testimony will be recorded. The board will vote on each case after the presentation of all evidence, pro and con, concerning that case. All decisions of this board are subject to appeal to the Board of Adjustment and then to the Durham County Superior Court. Clerk Holmes, could you please take the attendance of the commissioners who are here today?
Okay. Chair Bouchard,
Present.
Commissioner Dan,
Present.
Commissioner DeBerry,
Present.
Commissioner Fieselman,
Present.
Vice Chair Goolsby,
Present.
Commissioner Hamilton, present. Commissioner Johnson,
Present.
Commissioner Kreger, Commissioner Calhoun,
Present.
Thank you very much, Clerk Holmes. Commissioners, you've been forwarded an agenda to today's meeting. Would anyone, including city staff, actually, before I get to that, let me make sure I take care of the vote that was just, the roll call vote that was just taken, or the roll that was just taken. Everybody but Commissioner Kreger present?
Yes.
Clerk Holmes? Okay. And did anybody from city staff hear from Commissioner Kreger in advance of today's hearing?
Not that I know of. Let me check real quick on that.
Okay. We can circle back to that at the end of today's meeting. I just wanted to check. Okay. So 8 commissioners present today. Returning to where I just was, commissioners, you've been forwarded an agenda for today's meeting. Would anyone, including city staff, like to recommend any adjustments to the agenda?
No
This-
adjustment. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, Commissioner Mobley, seems like Tom Krieger was left off the members present for the meeting.
For the previous meeting?
For the December 7th meeting notes. Oh, that's for the agenda, I'm sorry.
I appreciate that correction, Vice Chair Goolsby. We'll certainly circle back to that when we get to the minutes.
So no adjustments, and I did confirm I did not receive any communication from Mr. Krieger.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Rosenberg. Excuse me, Carla Rosenberg. We will return to Commissioner Kreger's absence at the end of today's hearing. It is my pleasure to take a brief timeout from how we normally proceed with things during our monthly meetings to make a special presentation. We are delighted to have Faye Calhoun on the commission with us and to join our merry band. Of course, that means that we have lost one of our beloved members of the commission just to this commission. And she's enjoying her commission retirement as based on her background. Wanda Waiters has been a wonderful volunteer who's spent a number of years, 9 years on this commission, who I think we all know, love, and respect for her steadiness, her thoughtfulness, her candor, and just the duration of her service. And she made this commission better. She made all of us better. And in recognition of all the contributions that Wanda made to this commission, I would like to read aloud a resolution in appreciation of her service, which of course will also be presented to Wanda once I've had a chance to sign it and finalize it. The resolution reads as follows: Resolution in appreciation of Ms. Wanda Waiters. Whereas Ms. Wanda Waiters was a member of the Durham Historic Preservation Commission from May 2, 2012 through November 9, 2021. And whereas the Historic Preservation Commission and the citizens of the city and county of Durham have benefited from the dedicated efforts that she displayed while serving as a member of the commission. And whereas this commission desires to express its appreciation for the job well done, for the public of a job well done. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Durham Historic Preservation Commission that this commission does hereby express its sincere appreciation for the service rendered by Ms. Waiters to the citizens of this community, and that the clerk of the commission is hereby directed to spread this resolution in its entirety upon the official minutes of this commission, and this resolution is hereby presented to Ms. Wanda Waiters as a token of the high esteem held for her. Adopted this 11th day of January 2022. Congratulations, Wanda, and thank you so much for all of your service. And we'll hear the speech now.
And I just wanted to add, we believe that Wanda is our longest serving member, having been appointed to a position that was not yet completed, and then she did 2 full terms after that. And she precedes me here with the commission as well.
Very briefly, I just want to say it has been an absolute joy and with sincere gratitude and honor working with all of you. And it's been an honor with the history of the Historic Preservation Commission. And I thank all of you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Wanda.
Thank you, Wanda.
Thank you, Wanda.
You've seen the city change in so many ways, and you've had a real interesting perch and played a real important part in that. So again, thank you.
Thank you. Have a wonderful meeting, you guys.
Thanks.
Thank you,
Thank
Wanda.
you. Enjoy
Thank you,
Tahiti.
Wanda.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Carla, I'm going to suggest one switch here with the agenda. We have the swearing in of witnesses before the approval of the minutes. Should we proceed with the minutes instead and then get to the witnesses?
Yes, that sounds prudent.
Great. Okay, commissioners, you've been provided with draft minutes for our last commission meeting held on the same platform on December 7, 2021. Does anyone have any adjustments to the draft minutes they would like to recommend? I understand from Vice Chair Goolsby that Tom Kreger was inadvertently left off of the roll call of participating commissioners. I would certainly recommend that revision be made before the minutes be finalized. Any other adjustments to the draft minutes? Seeing and hearing none, do we have a motion?
I can make a motion to approve the December 7, 2021 meeting minutes with the change that you have flagged, Matt.
Great. I will second. Clerk Holmes, if we could have a roll call vote, please.
Okay. Chair Bouchard,
Approved.
Commissioner Dan.
I wasn't in the meeting, so
Okay. Commissioner DeBerry,
approved.
Commissioner Fieselman,
Approved.
Vice Chair Goolsby,
Approved.
Commissioner Hamilton,
Approved.
Commissioner Johnson,
Approved.
Commissioner Kreger, Commissioner Calhoun. Forgot.
Approved. Approved.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you very much, Clerk Holmes. If you could also now please proceed with swearing in all city staff that will be presenting today's cases.
Okay. Do you, members of staff, swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give in the public hearing proceedings for today's cases is the truth by your own knowledge or by information and belief?
Carla Rosenberg, Planning, I do.
Wonderful. I believe we are ready to proceed with our first hearing. Chris, if you could please bring in the participants for case COA 21-00091 1301 Vickers Avenue.
John Black is now coming in. And John, if you can just turn on your camera, please.
Mr. Black, good to see you again. Happy New Year. If we can get you unmuted.
Happy New Year to you. Thank you.
Great. All right, before we hear from staff, is there anyone of our commissioners who may have a conflict of interest in hearing this case? Seeing and hearing from nobody, let us proceed with the swearing in of Mr. Black. Clerk Holmes.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give in the public hearing proceedings for today's case, the truth by your own knowledge or by information and belief?
I swear.
And Mr. Black, do you consent to proceeding with today's case using this remote electronic platform?
I do.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, Carla, if we could please have a staff summary.
Hey, Carla Rosenberg, Planning Department. This is case COA 21-00091. It's 1301 Vickers Avenue, addition and site work. The applicant is Riverbank Construction, represented by John Black. The owners are Heather Mayer and Megan Wyrick. It's located on the southeast quadrant of the intersection of Vickers Avenue and West Lakewood. It's zoned residential suburban 8, and it's a non-contributing structure in the Moorhead Hill Historic District. The applicant is proposing an 846 square foot rear addition, which will entail changes to the current fenestration, removal of an existing deck and railing, and then also some landscaping and paving. So I'd like to introduce the staff report into the record and invite Mr. Black to present the case.
Thank you. Carla, are you in control of the file there?
I am.
Would you
You can
mind?
tell me a page
Would you
number.
mind just going to the front of the plans, I guess?
What's that?
A01, please.
A01. Can you give me a page number to the PDF? Do you happen to have that, or?
I don't know.
Let me move this so that I can see the page numbers down there. Okay, I'm at A10, so it's before this.
Yeah. There you go. Thank you. All right, so I am John Black, representing the homeowners of 1301 Vickers with Riverbank Construction. We are obviously proposing an addition renovation to their non-contributing structure here. I was just going to start by kind of talking about some of the challenges that we were facing that ultimately led us to the design that we landed on. One of those just being the size of the existing house, being somewhere between 11 and 1,200 square feet. It's a fairly small house for today's standards. And then just the low height of the existing structure. It's got extremely low ceilings on the inside and a very low pitched gable roof. So that, in addition with the site conditions, because it slopes from the backyard to the front, was limiting on how we were going to get to the square footage that the homeowners essentially wanted. That was the big challenge, square footage, because the homeowners obviously had practical needs that they were trying to meet with certain square footage. But then there's also just trying to get this house to a market value that sort of justified the amount of money that would take to do a project of this size. And so we kind of ended up at this magic number of around 2,000 square feet, which is not quite doubling the size of the house, but it's getting close. And this is all to be done in a single story with a sloping lot. So that's kind of the challenge. But we managed to come up with something that I think does a pretty good job. Carla, if you go to page A10 of the plans. You can see in the proposed elevations, oh, sorry, 11, next page. The front elevation remains the same. We managed to keep the addition below the height of the existing structure, basically using that same low-pitched gable that's on the existing house. We used it on the addition. And then there's a lot of excavation that's proposed in the backyard as well, because again, this lot slopes down toward the house. And so for us to go back in a single story, we had to dig, or we'd have to dig out quite a bit. And so that's why we have this proposed rear patio, paver patio with a retaining wall proposed as well. And that's mainly to gain that additional land area that we need to get the square footage up, and then also protect the house just from runoff off that backyard. And you can see, I mean, we're adding nearly 850 square feet in this design. So it's all again on one floor. So it's a lot of area to add on to a fairly small house. But we've tried to make it seem less massive just by sort of undulating the facades a bit. You know, it's set in from the existing structure and other pieces are pulled out. There's repetition of the same low-pitched gable and different elevations. And then we've tried to break up the walls of the facades using the same size and proportion windows that are on the existing house. And so I feel like we've done a decent job of getting that amount of square footage without making it look like a big block on the back. But so this is kind of where we are. One other site issue that I'll point out, Carla, if you can go to the photos. There you go. There's that existing structure. If you keep rolling down to, I believe, the last page. Yes, I don't know if you can zoom into that at all. But this shows the site, and right to the left of the driveway in that photo sits this little crepe myrtle, which is sort of in the way of where the homeowners would like to widen their driveway so they can get 2 cars in there, because they're on a busy intersection there, and it'd be nice to be able to park 2 cars off the road. So we are proposing removing this one crepe myrtle tree there, and we have not proposed replacing it with another tree, just given the, again, difficult circumstances on this lot. So from the property line down to the street and the right of way there, it just slopes down. And we're supposed to put street trees on the property, not in the right of way. And given how close this house sits to the street, we aren't even able to do that. So this tree, any new tree, would be in the right of way. And not only that, it would be underneath power lines on the slope. So it's just not ideal circumstances. We are proposing the landscape in the backyard as we do this excavating and retaining wall and all of this. And there's an existing street tree in the front yard of a very large oak. So it's our hope that, you know, the landscaping in the backyard, while it's not on the street necessarily, would help. Yes, you've marked that tree right there. Would help, I guess, mitigate the loss of this crepe myrtle. But that's all I have to present, and I'd be glad to answer any questions that you have.
Mr. Black, thank you so much. Floor is open for questions from the commissioners.
So what is your definition of very low ceiling?
They're less than 8 foot tall. I believe it's 7'10" is the ceiling height.
Thank you, Commissioner DeBerry. Commissioner Dan.
Thanks, Jonathan Down. The crepe myrtle on the plan was on the left between the house and the street.
between the existing structure and the street, and here I see it to the, it is. So why aren't you doing it to the left, the expansion of the driveway?
Because there's already a retaining wall on that side of the driveway that is retaining that slope earth. So actually in the proposed design, we'd be adding another retaining wall on the right, kind of just where that fence line is, to retain that part of the hill. So we're trying to spare the homeowners from ripping up their, retaining wall that's already existing.
This is a question maybe to Katie. Is it possible to move the crepe to the right of way?
I don't actually know how that works now, because like I know all new subdivisions you have to put the trees in the right of way, but the old ones you had to put them on the property. I don't know exactly what applies in this instance. I guess my question would be like, why can't you just put a new crepe myrtle in the backyard within 20 feet of the right of way? Or, another under power line size tree.
I think that's possible. I didn't know if it really would meet the requirements of a street tree, technically being that far in the yard, but perhaps. Yeah, we have no problem adding a tree in the backyard.
Yeah, the definition of a street tree is within 20 feet of the right of way.
Okay. That should be feasible.
So one more question, if I may. Mechanical. Is it possible to add the mechanical to somewhere in the rear instead of that, or is it replacing the current mechanical units?
So actually the existing we're just going to keep right there, and it is within that fence, so that does help. But the new unit we've actually proposed to move to the other side of the house, so it wouldn't be contributing to what you see here on this street side.
Carla, is the resolution, is the motion the same with that? Because I thought that I read that it's in the same side, being camouflaged.
Yeah, so I think I might have missed that there was additional equipment going on the other side. Let's go to the drawings and see if you could point out, is it on the site plan?
It
here?
is not on this one, no, but it
Okay.
would be, if you see that little sort of alcove between the existing structure and the new, kind of where it says 9 foot 0.49 down south, southern boundary.
Oh, right here.
Yep, it would be right there. That's where we're proposing to put the new one.
Okay.
Mr. Black, this is Commissioner Bouchard. Does that also stand for the tankless water heater? Or is that still planning on going on the other side of the?
That was still proposed for the north with the other utilities.
Okay. Camouflage in a similar way, matching paint color.
I don't know if you can paint those things, but it would be behind that fence.
Okay.
I know it's a low fence, but.
And John,
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say, for the record, site plans are such an integral part of our review. If you could make them bigger in the future, they deserve their own page.
Sure.
Okay. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Oh, no, I was simply going to say that given that the gas meter would be up on the north side, it just logistically made sense to put the gas water heater close to it.
Is it the tank itself on the interior and just the exhaust is on the exterior, or is both the tank and the exhaust on the exterior?
They make both models, but
Okay.
this one, given the limited space on the interior of the house, was proposed for the exterior.
Great. Okay. Those are all my questions. Do any other commissioners have questions for the applicant?
Or
John,
just
are you done?
no, well, if someone else has a question, I can go after.
No, go for it. Keep going.
The tankless water heater, how large is it? Because it's a very pronounced front facade here. To put it in the front, if the possibility to put it on the Vickers Street, or would Vickers see this even more? What do you think?
Well, Vickers is the front, so I think I wouldn't prefer to put it on.
No, so I'm mistaken. I'm right. You're right. So all good. Sorry. Am I wrong?
And
But-
those heaters are about the size of a large suitcase. I've got one at my house. They're not very big, and
Yes, the dimensions from the Renai website say 28 inches in height, 18.5 inches in width, 12 inches in depth. So
it's not much bigger than the electric meter box.
correct.
Yeah, I have one in my house too.
Jonathan, anything further?
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other commissioners? Okay. Seeing and hearing no raised hands and no additional voices. For the moment, I will close well, I guess as a technical matter, I will ask, although I know the answer. Is there anybody here planning to speak in opposition to this application? Okay, seeing and hearing no opposition, I will close the public hearing so that commissioners can begin their discussions and deliberations. Anybody want to kick us off? Yeah, sounds like we have two main concerns: the ultimate disposition of that crepe myrtle and potential replacement of same, as well as the new utility units that will be located on the Lakewood side of the residence. Anybody with concerns about either?
I think, Commissioner Hamilton, I think with the applicant agreeing to replace the crepe myrtle with a similar size tree within 20 feet of the Lakewood Avenue right away, I don't have any concerns with removing that particular crepe myrtle. I think it's okay. So I'm comfortable with that.
Mr. Black, you're okay with that being added as a condition to the application?
Absolutely.
Great. Okay, if there's no additional discussion, I will entertain a motion. Before I do that, just jumping ahead a bunch today. If I could have a staff recommendation.
Carla Rosenberg's planning department staff would recommend approval of the application with the condition stated of planting a new understory tree within 20 feet of the right of way in the backyard. I'd also like to note that any conditions that the applicant agrees to will need to be signed off on the COA. So when I issue that COA, I'll be requesting your signature, Mr. Black, and then I'll issue the COA once I obtain that.
Thank you, Carla. Now we will entertain a motion.
I'm happy to make a motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Fieselman. Please proceed.
The Durham Historic Preservation Commission finds that in case COA 2100091-1301 Vickers Avenue addition and site work, the applicant is proposing an addition to a non-contributing structure as well as site work. The one-story rear addition will measure 846 square feet and will be constructed with a painted brick veneer over CMU foundation, smooth cementitious fiberboard siding, architectural roofing shingles, fiberglass doors, and 6/1 triple grid fiberglass clad windows. One crepe myrtle will be removed from along West Lakewood Avenue, and the existing driveway will be expanded in that location. 3 black metal wall sconces and a pair of floodlights will be installed on the addition. A painted wood pergola and deck will attach to the rear of the addition, and new mechanical equipment, including a new gas meter and a tankless water heater, will be located next to existing equipment facing West Lakewood Avenue. Therefore, the conclusion of law is that the proposed addition and alterations are consistent with the historic character and qualities of the historic district and are consistent with the historic properties local review criteria, specifically those listed in the staff report, and the Durham Historic Preservation Commission approves the certificate of appropriateness for case COA 21-00091 1301 Vickers Avenue, addition and site work with the following conditions. 1, the improvement shall be substantially consistent with the plans and testimony presented to the commission at this commission hearing and attached to the COA. 2, the improvements may require additional approvals from other city or county departments or state or local agencies. The applicant is responsible for obtaining all required approvals relating to building construction, site work, and work in the right of way. 3, a compliance inspection shall be performed immediately upon completion of the work approved herein. And 4, the crepe myrtle should be replaced with a new understory tree within 20 feet of the right of way in the backyard.
Second. Commissioner Hamilton.
This is Commissioner Bouchard. Just one suggested revision to the way that Commissioner Fieselman read the motion. In condition 4, I believe the word should was used. I think that word should be shall.
Thank you.
And then also, was there additional equipment being installed on the south elevation of the addition, in where the 949 is, 9 feet 49?
Carla, are you recommending that we add that to the list of bullets as
Yeah,
opposed to conditions?
Yeah, just tacking on and on the south side of the addition. In the and would follow the Lakewood side. And the applicant will need to update their plan to show that location containing the equipment.
Did I miss? Did we also have the additional tree?
We did.
Okay, missed that.
Matt, do you have your head wrapped around Katie's suggestion? Can you just make it super clear for all of us?
Which suggestion?
Matt was just saying.
Oh, go ahead, Carla.
Matt was just saying that you should use the word shall. So an understory tree shall be planted within 20 feet of the right of way in the backyard.
Yes, and then Katie, you made a second suggestion.
No, I think
actually,
Carla did.
it was Carla.
Oh, my second suggestion was adding the and. So for the utilities, you had said utilities will be located on, next to the, facing the Lakewood right of way. I forget how it's worded. And you would just add and on the south side of the addition.
Okay, got it.
So the last bullet will read something along these lines. New mechanical equipment, including a gas meter and a tankless water heater, will be located next to existing equipment facing West Lakewood Avenue and on the south elevation of the building.
Should we specify that what's on the south elevation is is it HVAC unit?
Correct.
Yeah.
And an HVAC unit will be located on the south elevation.
Of the addition.
Of the addition.
Which is inset from the original structure.
Clerk Holmes, do you have all that?
Yeah, I will have to go back and when I do the minutes, I'll have to go back and listen to this video. Got it.
I can help you with it too.
Thank
Just
you.
call me.
Thank you.
And let's all be careful when we review the minutes next month to make sure that it reflects our intent here.
So let me
with
just summarize, sort of, I made the motion and now we have added the following edits to it. So the final bullet in the first portion of the motion will say new mechanical equipment, including a new gas meter and a tankless water heater, will be located next to the existing equipment facing West Lakewood Avenue, and an HVAC on the south elevation of the addition, which is inset from the structure. So original motion plus that. And then the second edit we made is in the 4 conditions on my original motion, we edited the 4th one to say a crepe myrtle, or when the crepe myrtle is removed, it shall be replaced with another understory tree within 20 feet of the right of way in the backyard.
Perfect. Thank you, Laura.
Second as amended.
Wonderful. Thank you. I think we are now prepared for the roll call vote. Clerk Holmes.
Okay. Chair Bouchard,
Approved.
Commissioner Dan,
Approved.
Commissioner DeBerry,
Approved.
Commissioner Fieselman,
Approved.
Vice Chair Goolsby,
Approved.
Commissioner Hamilton,
Approved.
Commissioner Johnson,
Approved.
Commissioner Calhoun.
Approved.
Motion passes 8-0.
Congratulations, Mr. Black. Good luck with this project and good luck to the property owners as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now ask Chris Peterson to bring in the applicant for our next case, our second and final case, which is case number COA 210098, 1704 Fayetteville Street. Before we hear from staff or from the applicant, is there any one of our commissioners who may have a conflict of interest in hearing this case? Seeing and hearing none, let us proceed with the swearing in of anyone who plans to speak for this case.
Chair Bouchard, this is Chris Peterson. For Mr. Mullen, I see you have 2 Zoom accounts in. Do you just have the one that you're speaking on today, or do you have someone else with you as well?
The owner may be in.
Did you share the link with that individual?
I did. Yes, sir.
Did they need to speak today, or are they just listening in?
They're just listening in, I believe.
Okay. All right. Then we can just go on with just you. Thank you.
Good morning. Is it Mr. Mullen?
Yes, sir.
Very good to see you here today. If we could proceed to swear in the witness, Clerk Holmes.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give in the public hearing proceedings for today's case, the truth by your own knowledge or by information and belief?
I do.
And Mr. Mullen, one last follow-up question. Do you consent to proceeding with having this case heard today using this remote electronic platform?
I do.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Carla, if we could please have a staff summary.
All right, Carla Rosenberg, Planning Department. This is case COA 21000098. It's 1704 Fayetteville Street, addition and modifications. The applicant is Building Beyond LLC, represented by Ray Mullins. The owner is J.G. Stein Property Management LLC. It's located on the west side of Fayetteville Street between Dupree Street and East Lawson. It's zoned residential urban 5, and it's a contributing structure to the Fayetteville Street Historic District. The applicant is proposing to remove a rear porch and replace with a new rear addition, as well as make pretty substantial restorations to the rest of the structure, including window replacement, siding replacement, etc. So I'd like to introduce the staff report into the record and invite Mr. Mullen to present his case. And Mr. Mullen, you can tell me to jump to any particular page and I'll go there.
Perfect. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ray Mullen of Building Beyond. I represent the owners, J.G. Stein Property Management. I believe one of the owners is listening in. Carla, if you'll go to page 18 of the attachment.
Is that a PDF page number or is that of like,
I think it's a
part of-
PDF page number. It's right here, right there, 18, yeah. So we were hired to restore or replace existing siding, the front porch of this building, and build a new addition to the rear of the structure. As you can see, it's in a really bad, dilapidated state, and the owners had begun to receive fines from the city as a result of not doing anything to it for quite some time. When we got there, we noticed that a lot of there had been some work being done on the inside of the structure, and that work removed the living room and kitchen portion of the existing structure. So right now you have framing of bedrooms and bathrooms on the inside of the structure, but no living room and kitchen. Hence the reason for us proposing to build the living room and kitchen at the rear of the property. What we propose doing is restoring as much of the existing siding as possible. A lot of it is in ruin, but our goal is to sandblast as much of it as possible to restore it, and then install new wood siding to the remaining parts that we can't restore. 1x6 wood siding that matches what's already there. This is my first time doing a historic preservation meeting, so bear with me. But I've worked with Carla and I've gone through all of the requirements to make sure that what our proposal does is meets all the requirements. At the back rear of the home, we propose installing a lap siding, vertical lap siding, so that it differentiates the new addition from the old addition, and the remaining new addition will have the same wood siding, and the front porch will be replaced with the same brick and framing members that are there now. We're basically just going to replace it to look exactly the way it looks right now. The only additional thing that we're doing to the exterior part of the building is we propose installing a walkway in between those two side walls right there at the front entrance, leading up to the sidewalk in the front of the house, and the HVAC unit. We propose putting it on the right rear side of the house so that it can't be seen from the street. There's also some site improvements. We propose doing a parking lot with 5 spaces at the rear of the home. And there's a on the site, on the site plan, the way that we will enter that rear parking lot is from the street, Dupree Street, which is at the right side of the home as well. That home that's existing, that's on the right side of this existing structure, is also owned by the current owners that we're working for. So we're able to use that the entrance from that Dupree Street to get into the parking area that we propose building at the rear of this home. The rear addition is a 1-level, 333 square foot addition that is not able to be seen from the road. It will go. I'm trying to see. Right. If you go to page 33, Carla. I think we just passed it. Maybe it was 32 then. I'm trying to get to the rear elevation of the house. Let's see. What page is it? Front side. Okay, so this rear elevation that you see in the left corner of this page, as you can see, the roof is a 612 pitch. It can't be seen from the existing structure, the original structure of the house from the road. It can't be seen. The new addition that we're building is lower than the existing roof, and it's less. It's 333 square feet, and our existing is I think about 1,400 square feet. So it's much less square foot as well. And the new structure will not be contributing in its current state. The only other thing is we will be replacing we propose to replace the existing windows. Right now there were only 2 windows left that could possibly be restored, and we're looking into the possibility of restoring those 2 windows that we found on the site. The additional windows that we propose to replace are fiberglass wood clad windows, and they are 6/1s that basically are in line with what is required in the historic preservation manual. That's about it. You guys have any questions for me?
Chair Bouchard, I think you're muted.
Yes, I am. Mr. Mullen, thank you for your presentation. Would like to open the floor for commissioners to ask questions.
Commissioner Hamilton, I just had a question about the rear parking area. In our staff report, it says that no trees will need to be removed. Are all those trees on the adjacent property and not yours? Because the plan makes it look like concrete's going to the property line, but it could also just be the hatch or whatever. So I just wanted to get a better.
Yes, ma'am. So in its current state, there are trees that line the actual property line, but there are no trees actually inside the lot. So this, what you see here is actually bushes from the tree that's lining the property line. That pole right there is actually a power pole that's standing in the middle, but there are no trees actually in the lot. It's all on the right hand side, lining the property line.
So you're saying that all of this is at the rear lot line, and your paving will take place right here where there are only bushes?
Correct. And this picture here, I don't know where this picture came from, but
I took this from Google because I was trying to understand what was going on in the backyard.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's an old picture. There's this metal fence here. There's no fence there, and the metal fence that you see that's lined up along the property line here, that's not there as well. And there are all of these trees here that you see. There are no trees there. There's nothing there.
So they may have been prematurely removed then.
Yes, ma'am. They
So
definitely.
they were removed maybe without a COA. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure. When this owner purchased the property and when we got to this property, all of that was clear.
And what year was that purchase?
I believe they purchased it in 2019. And maybe I'm gonna say 2020.
Commissioner Hamilton, just one follow-up question, I guess, is the location of the parking lot then being determined by this existing location on 1702 Fayetteville, like the corner lot at Dupree? Like, is that how you decided to put it that far back? Like, is there a reason you didn't pull it, I guess, a little closer to the building to help protect some of those trees maybe a little better as far as like the roots and everything?
So we just proposed it to go in line with what's existing at next door. So the trees that are actually on the right-hand side that are lining that property line, we're not going to do anything to those trees. They're going to stay there. We just basically, what our proposal was to match up what's there existing and proceed with it the way it is. Basically going from right now there's an existing concrete parking area on 1702 right beside leading from Dupree Street, and we basically we're just going to attach to that and build the 5 parking spaces. So there's still, I'd say a good 6 feet or more from our existing parking area that we propose to the actual the couple trees that are in the property line.
Okay, all right, well, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Jonathan Down, first of all, I have to praise you. This is amazing that you're able to restore this property. We've seen properties in much better condition with much less effort. And this is, I think, is a beautiful proposal. The only question I do have is for the the driveway that you're planning from the property next door. Is that something that was approved already by planning?
So we have not submitted anything to planning. It was they told me that what I should do is get this approved first and then go with planning. So we have not submitted anything to planning yet.
Is the owner willing to?
Oh, it's just, excuse me. The owner is the same owner. The owner that owns this structure actually owns 1702 and the house behind it as well.
Right. I'm just worried that there's going to be an issue with providing an easement within the property. From what I know, it's less common now. From one property to another. So the question is if the owner is willing to give that land or to recombine it into this land to do that.
Yeah, we've had extensive conversations about it, and they're willing to do that.
Mr. Mullen, you were explaining it's the same owner who would be providing that easement to himself, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, my experience is it doesn't matter if it's the same owner because the city is looking also for future. If he wants to sell one property, what happens to that easement at that point?
Exactly. All right. I understand.
Got it. That makes sense.
Jonathan, anything further?
No, thank you very much. And again, amazing.
Thank you, sir.
This is Commissioner. Oh, go ahead.
Let me pick up on that. I have to commend you for getting involved in saving these properties in this particular property because I've been inside of it, so I know where you're starting from. At least from about 18 to 20 months ago, and I've been inside of both of them. They're going to be rooming houses, but not single family houses, and most of the framing is done on the inside of this one in terms of bedrooms and bathrooms, etc. But you're starting from scratch with electricity, plumbing, and all that sort of thing. So it's a wonderful thing. I'm glad it's not going to be demolished because it's sure it probably qualifies for that, but with the plans to make 4 units inside of the property is gonna bring quite a revenue.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Calhoun. Mr. Mullen, this is Commissioner Bouchard. I just had a quick question. I drove by the property over the weekend. It looked like some work had already been done.
Yes, so we wanted to make sure that that the lap siding was gonna work. So they started on doing replacing some of the wood siding to match the siding that's going to be sandblasted. So we started doing that. They've also started doing some of the front porch replacement. And of course, if this is not approved, then they'll have to stop. But yes, they started on it.
Carla Rosenberg, Planning Department. Just to make a comment about the sandblasting. Typically, you would want to use the gentlest means necessary to achieve your end. And so I'm wondering why sandblasting would be necessary in lieu of the typical scraping.
We've already tried the scraping. It won't get it to the point where it's so, the way that the wood is right now is so deteriorated that continuing to scrape it anymore will basically just destroy the wood. And really, to be honest with you, there's only, a minimal part of it that's even strong enough to be scraped or sandblasted to be restored. The majority of it is having to be replaced with wood siding, which is extreme expense to the owner. But we wanted to, keep the character of the building, like it's required. So the majority of the building is being replaced with matching wood siding, and the ones that we propose to sandblast is only because that the little parts that are there that we can try to restore, scraping won't work.
That's right.
Mr. Mullen, just following up on my question about the work that's begun, have any conclusions been made based on that work to date as to how much of the existing lap siding is going to be able to be salvageable?
About 10%, sir.
Those are all my questions. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Do any other commissioners have questions for Mr. Mullen?
I just want to make a comment. I also want to praise you for working on this. I think most people would have just tried to demolish and sent us an application for demolition. So I just wanted to praise you for putting the effort in. And I hope you're taking advantage of historic tax credits or at least talk to the office. But yes, I just wanted to say thank you for making the effort.
Thank you. We looked into that. I think Ms. Rosenberg actually brought that up too. But because it's in the local historic district and not the national historic district, they say we didn't qualify for the tax credit. So we haven't been able to take advantage of that part of it.
So, Carla, this is not in the National Register District?
It's in Stokesdale. It's in the Stokesdale National Register District. And it's a contributing property. So I don't know, looks like maybe there have been some alterations, but yeah, I think you should look into it.
Okay.
Yeah, certainly the exterior work should qualify for some tax credits. And since it's a revenue producing property, you're going to even get better credits than a residential.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, so I guess Carla can't do it. I can send you some consultants to talk to, but that's separate. Okay.
That would be great. I really appreciate that.
And I too would like to commend the owner and this company for what they're doing. And it's not lost on me that their neighbor, the university, has chosen a different route a number of times for houses in better shape than this house. And I'm so grateful that you're doing what you're doing against the tide. So thank you.
Appreciate you saying that. And you guys will probably see us again because the owner wants to do the same thing to the house next door. So hopefully you'll be seeing us again right after this one.
That's terrific. Thank you, Commissioners Johnson and Berry. Any further comments, questions from any members of the commission?
Yes, Chair Charles, Commissioner Goolsby. I echo everything that my fellow commissioners are saying here about restoring this property, and we really appreciate and look forward to your future endeavors with other properties. My questions, could you clarify though, the addition, you mentioned it's going to have vertical siding on it. And I think what I see in the drawings is a horizontal. Can you clarify?
When I said vertical siding, what we proposed and at the recommendation of Ms. Rosenberg was to install a vertical lap board for, where the new addition meets the existing house, so that we can differentiate the original structure from the new structure. So it would just be one 1x6 vertical that separates the two structures.
Gotcha, I understand. So basically a trim board between the old and the new.
There you go. Yeah.
Gotcha. But it will be horizontal throughout.
That is correct. That is correct.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. My other question, and Katie may be able to help me out with this, looking at your site plan that's here on the screen, are there any issues with your setbacks from the property line? Particularly thinking about there on what's the north side of the property. You're right up on the property lines. Have you confirmed your setbacks, and if you can continue the same wall straight across, or do you need to step that wall in?
So we've been talking to our surveyor about that, and they have been in contact with planning and the city to try to get an answer to that. We still haven't got that answer yet. There, of course, if they say that we need to remove that bay window that's already there existing, you're talking about the new bay window or the existing one?
I'm talking about the new addition altogether. So not the existing piece of property or the existing house, but what's in red, and particularly the upper portion of it. On new properties, we often have to step the property up. We have a setback. I mean, you probably know this. We have a setback a couple feet off the property line. That's not depicted on this drawing. So we don't dictate that, but it's something to keep in mind, is that zoning may have a requirement for you to come in a couple feet from that property line.
Yeah, well, I've been talking to our surveyor about it, and they've been trying to get in touch with zoning to get that answer. And if we had to do that, then it shouldn't be a problem to do it. But we're aware of that right now. I appreciate you saying that.
I guess, Andy, this is Commissioner Hamilton, just in response to that too, since they do own both properties, there may be an opportunity for them to do a recombination plat and shift that property line to get the building where they want it.
That's what the surveyor is trying to find out.
Okay, yeah. So there may be an opportunity for them to do something along those lines instead of having to redesign this, since they do own both properties.
That's all I have. Thank you all.
Thank you, Vice Chair Goolsby and Commissioner Hamilton. Any other commissioners? Okay, seeing no hands raised, hearing no voices, I will ask, I believe today as a formality, if there's anybody present today who wishes to speak in opposition to this application. Seeing and hearing none, I will close the public hearing and invite commissioners to engage in any discussion. I will state for the record, like my fellow commissioners have already stated, this is a tremendous undertaking, and so happy to see this structure saved and restored to glory. It's great stuff.
Yes, I've been driving down, Commissioner Johnson, I've been driving down Fayetteville Street and noticed the house and I just thought it was gonna get torn down. So I'm happy, very happy to hear that somebody's gonna try to restore it. And I mean, I would love to see that National Register corridor be restored and be revived as much as possible to its former glory. So I'm excited to see the end result.
Do any of the commissioners have any comments, questions, points of discussion related to meeting the criteria? Seeing and hearing no comments or concerns, do we have a staff recommendation?
Apologize, Carla Rosenberg, Planning Department. Staff would recommend approval of the application.
Thanks so much, Carla. Do we have a motion?
I'll move.
Thank you, Jonathan.
The Durham Historic Preservation Commission finds that in case COA 2100098 Fayetteville Street, additions and modifications, the applicant is proposing an addition to a contributing structure. The 333 square foot rear addition will be separated from the original structure using a vertical trim board. It will be constructed with wood lap siding and architectural roof shingles. All windows will be replaced with triple grid simulated divided light fiberglass clad wood windows in a 6/1 configuration. One black metal wall sconce will be added to each side of the front door. 5 parking spaces will be paved at the rear of the lot, retaining all existing trees. A front walkway 4 feet in width and a rear patio 9 feet by 5 feet will be paved with poured concrete. Therefore, the conclusion of law is that the proposed addition and alterations are consistent with the historic character and qualities of the historic district and are consistent with the historic properties local review criteria, specifically those listed in the staff report. And the Durham Historic Preservation Commission approves the certificate of appropriateness for case COA 2100098 1704 Fayetteville Street, additions and modifications with the following conditions. 1, the improvement shall be substantially consistent with the plans and testimony presented to the commission at this commission hearing and attached to the COA. 2, the improvements may require additional approvals from other city or county departments or state or local agencies. The applicant is responsible for obtaining all required approvals relating to building construction, site work, and work in the right-of-way. And 3, a compliance inspection shall be performed immediately upon completion of the work approved herein.
Second.
Thank you for the motion, Commissioner Diane, and thank you for the second, Commissioner Johnson. Clerk Holmes, if we could have a roll call vote, please.
All right. Chair Bouchard,
Approved.
Commissioner Dayan,
Approved.
Commissioner DeBerry,
Approved.
Commissioner Fieselman,
Approved.
Vice Chair Goolsby, Commissioner Hamilton, approved. Commissioner Johnson,
Approved.
Commissioner Calhoun.
Approved.
Motion passes 8-0.
Mr. Mullen, congratulations. Good luck on this tremendous project. I'll go ahead and mention to you that this commission pulls together a newsletter that gets delivered to all the folks who live in our historic districts. This project has to be leader in the clubhouse right now or something we might want to feature in that newsletter that we'll start pulling together here in the coming months. So please take lots of pictures, send those on to Carla, and we're looking forward to seeing the finished product.
I appreciate it, sir. You guys have been great. Thank you.
Thank you. That will wrap up our hearings for today, everybody. Couple of items that I want to bring to our attention. I don't know if this falls under old business or new business. Returning to Commissioner Kreger's absence today. I know in recent months we have been voting to approve excused absences. We don't at this moment have grounds to approve an excused absence at this point in time. And so do we need to vote on anything, or is it just deemed an inexcused absence because we didn't hear from Tom before today's hearing? That might be a question for Krista.
Krista Kukro, City Attorney's Office. I think that this would qualify as an unexcused absence. So I don't think that there is a need to vote.
Okay. Thank you for that. I wanted to just bring up one other topic. I guess we'll put this under new business before we get to the minor COA report. Tad has expressed to me some concern about what's happening on the Brightleaf building, and I share the concern. And I don't want to turn this into a long drawn out discussion about what's happening on that building, but it's clear that folks might be doing stuff on that particular building that go beyond what we approved. And I wanted to at least open up, the beginning of a conversation about, is there anything we can do about it? Or is it basically out of our hands once we approve something and an applicant goes beyond the four corners of what we've approved? And so again, it's not on the agenda for today. It might be something we might want to add as an agenda item for some sort of presentation or discussion point. But I didn't want to just let it lie. I wanted to make sure that we, as a commission, had a discussion, or at least the opportunity to have a discussion about what options are available to us, if any, when it appears to us that work beyond what we've authorized is performed on any COA we approve.
Right. So each COA, minor and major, that is approved must undergo a compliance inspection, but that doesn't occur until the end. And in such a large project as this, if work is going on, over a long period of time, that compliance inspection could be months ahead. And so if you're seeing work that is being executed not according to what was approved, then a notice of violation could be sent out. Our zoning enforcement is over that. And then they would work with staff to rectify any issues. So I do know that they have been working with staff to rectify certain issues. I don't know the extent of what you've seen, if it's beyond what may have already been observed. But they have been working with staff on one particular issue that was noted.
And so, Carla, is it the case where if any of us have concerns, it's not necessarily something that needs to come to the commission, it's something that we can...
Our zoning enforcement.
Okay.
Right.
Well, that's a good option to know about. Does anyone else have any comments, questions, suggestions about this topic? All right, just thought I would throw it out there.
I'm sorry, I have one comment. Since it was brought to the commission's attention in a public hearing, will there be an investigation or some type of notice of violation for the 1701 Fayetteville Street property of trees removed? I checked the Google's image that you had. It was captured in May 2018. So sometime between May 2018 and then the applicant said he bought the property, the trees were removed. Do we do after the fact? Do we send after the fact notice of violations?
That's a really good question. I had thought maybe, requiring some trees be put back, but if it was a previous property owner, technically you do inherit violations, and Krista Kukure may want to speak more to this. However, I think there's a balance in sort of how much you can require the applicant to do. Is there anything
it's really not fair to go after a buyer of a property, if someone, especially this one that is doing such great work, to go because of a previous owner? There's no way of due diligence to really look for if they remove trees or not, compliance, not compliance to historic preservation. I think that's really to step out of our comfort zone, I would say. He doesn't deserve it.
I agree. Just asking.
I was a little concerned about today's application that some work had begun. I mean, that strikes me as something that should not have happened. Is that correct, Carla, or am I overreacting to that?
Right. Sometimes, I'll say, can you peek behind? Maybe it requires removing a little bit of siding to see what original siding was present. I didn't receive any notice from the applicant that they were beginning work.
Because the original structure is re-sided. It's pretty much, I think, I drove by relatively quickly, didn't take pictures, but it looked to me like most of the original, at least the front and two side facades had been re-sided. I think maybe the back had not yet been re-sided.
Yeah, typically when work has begun, it's considered a retroactive COA, and there's a double application fee. And anything that is done outside of what the criteria would allow would need to be rectified.
And would that determination be made after the compliance inspection? At the end?
No, it would actually be done in terms of the review of the COA itself, whether it's a minor or a major COA. You would look at what work has been done and whether that meets the criteria and can continue, or whether it needs to be put on a different path.
Well, here it looks like the work might have been done after the COA was even submitted, because the COA represents that no work has started. And I'm presuming that's truthful. And so, between the time the application was submitted in October and, today's hearing, it looks like some work was done.
Yeah,
Well,
and I can.
What it seems as though that was exploratory work to understand the feasibility of retaining those the siding. And also, you couldn't get in the front door unless you did something with the porch. So, that was done out of defense. You gotta be able to enter the house. I know I tried it a couple of years ago, and the porch was gone, and I had to do gymnastics to get in there. So I know.
So I guess Commissioner Hamilton, really Carla, is dependent on whether or not you can categorize that as maintenance or not, as to whether or not they've overstepped, right? Like, that's really the question at hand.
Right, and the recourse is to obtain a COA, which they now have obtained, and so now it's sort of like the compliance inspection falls into place now. So, but if something is done not according to the COA, then that would be caught at that point, unless somebody drives by and notices something different. And then you can bring it up with me and we'll send our zoning enforcement out to investigate.
Great. All right, that's all I had on those 2 points. Does anyone else have anything they want to share on those points or anything else? Clerk Holmes, last item on our agenda, minor COA report.
I apologize. I will be able to get that out to you all, let's see, by Thursday. Going forward, I'm going to try to have it out to you all by the Friday before the HPC meeting. That's going to be my goal for the new year.
Good stuff. Good deal. All right, everybody. Thank you all for your time today, and good meeting. A couple really good projects, and hope everyone has a wonderful start to the year.
Too. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.